All right, baby, massage related to the knees. Now we're emphasizing mainly the quads, but also a little bit of the hip flexor component coming from the middle thigh, rectus femoris muscle that both extends the knee and flexes the hip. We'll come into the hip flexor a little bit as well, but the big thing with the quad, we're gonna go foam roller, I'll show some peanut options, and then manual, scraper, massage gun as well. But you gotta look at, if you're getting tightness here in the middle of the quad, you'll be prone to both pain in the knee and the hip, okay? If you're getting more pain in the outside of the knee, it's this outer quad that's gonna be really tender and tight. If you're getting more inner or medial knee pain, it's that VMO muscle right here that's tight. So you wanna spend about 2 to 5 minutes total. They're big muscles, so 5 minutes per muscle group, and then spend the most time on the areas that bother you the most. So when we go with the foam roller, and again, I like the vibrating option, I always start, because I have a history of lateral knee pain, on the outside. And again, we're going from just above the knee to just below the hip, or all the way into the hip if you can. Now, we use all directions here. I'm going, initially just kind of taking a movement screen, if you will, a sweep. Where am I tender or tight? Oh wait, the whole thing's matted down. So I can go up and down like this. I can also, at each point, kind of roll over and back side to side, or have that kind of lateral rotational action. And then I can play with whether I am straight-legged, where the muscle is more contracted, versus bent-legged, where it's more under a stretch. And that feels completely different when you do it. I can also, again, tack down on the tender tight parts, flex and extend, and then, you know, really try to squeeze that quad at the end range, come back. So that's more the lateral, vastus lateralis area. You're not really rolling the IT band, that's too thick to change anyway, but the outer quad can get stuck on the IT band, which is what's gonna cause that kneecap to go outside and get pulled and cause that lateral pain and poor patellar tracking. So I'll get that outer area. Now, more middle, I'm just gonna switch legs so you can see it better. More middle quad or front thigh area. Again, I'm gonna sweep all the way up and back. And again, you can start one leg off to the side and then load it more by coming through here. But same concept, sweep it through, middle part's really tight. Oh, flex, extend, 3 to 5 reps. I can smash across, and then I can come also into that hip and kind of go side to side here, really kind of more of the iliacus pelvic component, not the psoas, we'll stress that later, which is above the pelvis, kind of attaching to the lumbar spine. And then getting more of the VMO, teardrop, inner quad, lower quad muscles. I just come like this and I roll them out, and again, flex, extend, smash. I can apply more pressure this way and bring it all the way into the adductor as well. So that's how we do it with the actual foam roller. With this guy, this is gonna take a lot of time. You gotta be mindful, it's gonna take a lot of time. It's a very small, big muscle group. But again, if I felt, oh, it's more around the area just above the knee, what I'll do is, I'll put this right above the knee, and then I will just do some additional work, kind of a trigger point work right on that spot. So I'm on it, and then I'm just gonna flex and extend it, and just kind of open that up. And I can work it all the way up the chain. So that's what this is mainly for, more pressure per square unit, and then going into the trouble spots you found with the roller, and then just cleaning it up. Roller gets the big area. This is that little brush that gets those small edges or tight trigger points that you find in your general rolling. So, but again, big muscle groups takes a lot of time. Sometimes I'll do 10 minutes per leg if I'm really matted down, but if you have a history of knee pain, you have to do this every day. You can't skip it. Now let's go into, let's massage it up. Get some lotion or CBD oil, and so we can get a good friction going. Simple massage stick. Oops, there goes my attachment. And lots of options, but again, I find a lot of versatility with the double prong. And again, seated at work while watching TV, between sets, I'm just applying downward pressure here. Not just, if I just let it graze, I'm just getting the superficial muscles. This should work your upper body. So pull down into the muscle. And again, I can change whether it's bent or straight, more outer, middle, especially that middle quad area right there, which gets matted down, whether it's bent or straight is good too. And then I can come right inside to that teardrop VMO. This is really nice just to, you know, super simple, easy, but again, you gotta make it uncomfortable for that muscle, really get down and apply some pressure. In terms of the scraper, I do really enjoy the scraper for this because, a little more lotion here, especially on the outside area there, because I can really get into that outer quad restriction. So vastus lateralis area here, here's my IT band, that's the vastus, and I'm just really downward pressure into it a couple minutes, And it might be a little bit flared up the next day. You're trying to break up all that matted down scar tissue. And similarly, with the scraper, I can go knuckles and right out of the shower. It's wet, it's warm, it's heated up really nice. I can take my knuckles and just really get into the whole quad region and really open that all the way up. So lots of options. Just make sure if you have knee pain. Again, every time you idiot, this has been with you since you were 14 in some ways. You got to do this every day. And the days I don't, this tightens up on me, and then my knees start to feel, whether it's aching, stiffness, swelling, tightness, which limits my squats, my lunges, my biking. And because I have to work my quads every day with rehab, I also have to heal them and improve the tissue quality. Ask any questions in the comments below. Get after those quads. Now, Quadzilla. All right, baby, voodoo flossing the knee. Now, if you have ever had knee pain, again, jumper's knee tends to be caused or in the front of the knee, patellar tendonitis. Runner's knee tends to be more on the outside of the leg. But if you have patellar tracking issues, chondromalacia, this is going to change the game for you. Now, a lot of people will tell you, especially if you're prone to that kneecap, that patella gliding outside by this big, strong muscle, pulling it out, and there's weakness in the inside a teardrop VMO muscle that's supposed to pull it back in. When that's happening, okay, this stays out there and gets stuck. So a lot of times therapists will say, okay, let's do some tilts and glide where you kind of take the outside of that kneecap and you kind of push it in manually with your fingers and thumbs, and even also kind of press down on it to open up. So it's a tilt down and push across. I can hold that for time statically, and I can even add some up-down motion to the knee. The beauty of the floss band, if I wrap it medially, I can do that at the same time. So again, I've already wrapped the other leg, and I'm gonna go here, and there we go, yes. So wrapping medially. I start right in the tibial tuberosity, upper shin bone, get a good security over that, and then I start going 50% overlap. I keep the knee soft enough so that the kneecap can move, and then apply that lateral tilt. So if it's totally straight and locked out, it won't help. So keep it slightly bent, make sure the knee is movable, 50% overlap. I'm gonna come, again, above and below. So I do wanna get into that, what's called suprapatellar pouch, which is just above the knee joint, which is matted down and stiff, maybe harder to get with some other massage implements. I'm gonna come right across and X to finish. All right, and now I'm in place. And by the way, this is gonna have not only the soft tissue fascial improvements, but it's gonna flexion gap like you would by putting a peanut or a pillow or a thick pad between the knee and kind of compressing, whether it's like this, on the floor, etc. It's gonna do all that good stuff for you to get more space in the joint, clean up the capsule itself. And again, we wrap towards the heart to help with swelling. So the first thing I'll do right away is get into some sort of deep squat, or especially initially, if you're newer to this, get kneeling. Nice good kneel. You'll start more like this, side to side movement. You might hear some clicks, cracks, or adjustments as that hinge dust gets kind of blown open with the mobility magic that floss band compression provides. I can also isolate one leg at a time like this, whether I want to go more plantar flexion or on the toes. So I kind of tie in both toe foot for my split squat lunging, and also just knee bending that way as well. I can even go and kind of shift more weight to that front leg, get on the balls of the feet and go like this. So I've got options that way, just kind of moving it side to side. One of my favorite options from a deep squat standpoint is I elevate the heels. So it lets me work around ankle mobility and get more flexion through the knee and the hip. But with the self-assistance, either holding onto a TRX or like a dip or a box or a bench behind you like this, I can sit into it and get so much motion and really open that up for safety-wise, and just going deep all the way down. I can even work on kind of pulsing to halfway, back down, or doing like 3 to 5 reps, fully extending out and squeezing. Inhale down. I'm also trying to improve extension. Coming all the way through like that, all the way up and down. Another thing I like to do as well from a knee extension standpoint is I can take a roller, elevate the heel cord, and then kind of use the weight of my hands. I'm gonna take my hands and I'm gonna take the tibia right around that upper shin bone, rotate it inwards and push down, and then work on just flexing my lower quad in particular to help get more extension in the knee. So it's not just about the flexion benefits of getting the bend, but also fully getting the knee straight. If it's even slightly bent and you think it's straight, but it's not, all day you're putting more stress to the joint than you want. Squeezing about 5 to 10 of those reps, and again, actively rotating inwards, creating some tibial rotation, squeezing down into it real nice. That's another great option. You can do both sides there as well. And then I'll show a couple final options here, just kind of getting started. Watch, forgot to mention, this is like the money one too, that quad hip flexor. I always do this when I bike because that middle quad muscle crosses the hip and the knee. It gets really tight from biking. So this will really help tremendously, just working that quad hip flexor couch stretch or Bulgarian split squat position. I can even tie in with self-assistance, you know, full range of motion reps while working that. And then I'm gonna put this to the side for a second so I can show something final. But you know what? Again, it's about getting the positions you wanna change. So when I do my bike, I'll do a 2-minute floss band ride. And what often happens too, maybe I start a little bit stiff and achy in these areas, but after 2 minutes of just working that cyclical pattern, I feel really good. And then my biking workout ends up feeling fantastic. So 2 minutes floss band like this, just building up speed, 60 to 80 RPM is phenomenal pre-bike or just general warm up. And then this is kind of the final one I like to do a lot, is just kind of that self-assisted TRX spot. I go from an active hinge and then I kind of sink down into it. So, and then I'm working, getting full extension in these, pulling back, stretching those hips and hammies, and coming forward, stacking my joints like an accordion in that deep squat shape. And I'll do like 5 to 10 of those. And by the way, there's a blood flow restriction effect happening here, so I'm burning. I can flow between these, set the clock, count-on clock for 10 minutes, and get as much done as you can. And initially, you'll only be able to handle maybe 2 to 5 minutes at a time. Over time, you can build up to 10 plus minutes, but start, take it on and off, have fun, get it done. Yo, beginner BFR for the legs. Now I've got my BFR band, upper thigh attached. I've also got my SUJI BFR cuff, compressed at 80%. And again, I found in my experimentation, the tightest I can get this is about 40%, and I can get this from 40 to 80% in 5% increments. So this one's gonna get pumped a lot faster, quicker. It's gonna be more occluded. You'll see it as we kind of go through the sequence here, but this also works just great. It's pretty high up on the upper thigh, past the hamstring peak. And the best way to start getting going here, again, using it for knee rehab, in particular patellar tracking, is a band TKE. So what we do is we take the band, attach it about knee shin level or lower to an anchor point that's nice and smooth. You come away, I can increase the tension by coming further away, but I'm here locked in. Back toe here, I can even kind of assist with a stick. And all I'm gonna do is let that knee, the band pull that knee as forward as I can, keeping the foot flat, improving ankle mobility, tracking that knee right over the foot and the toes, squeezing out. And I can pump out, basically do a minute each leg nonstop for 10 straight minutes, or I can go 5 minutes on one side nonstop, rest pausing briefly 10 to 20 seconds as needed. Again, want more tension, come further out. I also like to play with stepping the other foot forward, still the back, toes, and heel are aligned, but this one is almost like a backward walker sled. I can get a little more pushback effect on this one. So I'll do both options, and again, the goal is to get as much motion as you can, but really squeeze out that quad, targeting the lower quad BMO muscle, really trying to pump it, flush it, and get that going. Again, 1 minute per side, nonstop for 10 straight minutes is phenomenal, or 5 minutes per side, rest pausing as needed. Then we go into some classic, if you want to do some single leg work, the best ways to start with that are going to be a self-assisted step up. Now I could do 6, and like I like to start about top thigh parallel to the floor on this, and again, you can lower it. Lower steps or boxes, especially if they're adjustable, are gonna target more quad and calf. The higher you get, the more glute hamstrings involved, but because of this occlusion effect, you're gonna feel it everywhere, even though the step up is a little more hip dominant. So I can get here, exhale up, and then use that self-assistance needed, tracking the knee over the foot, slow down and control. And again, I could mix tempo, starting with more slow eccentric to kind of, without collapsing, kind of pumping up and down, but it could be a minute per side, or I do my classic alternating step up format for 10 straight minutes. And what I can do is the first 5 minutes, super slow eccentric emphasis. The final 5 minutes, I can speed it up a bit. Again, still always controlling, no plopping, and make sure that knee isn't driving too far forward. A relative vertical shin to load those hips up real nice. And by the way, the attachment site has the benefits of compressing the high hamstring hip flexor area, which would actually help improve hip flexion extension. It's gonna improve your mechanics. I could also do a 1 minute per side split squat setup with dip bars or the stick, whatever you wanna do. And again, self-assisted, stay tall up top, 90-degree angles in the legs, control it down, exhale up. And all these, inhale down, exhale up. The burn happens quick. And again, it could be a 40-20, a 50-10, or whatever you want to rock, but I just go 1 minute continuous each side. Keep switching sides every minute for 10 straight minutes, and you'll start having to use more self-assistance as you need. I can play with my slant boards, going more like that to get more range even. But again, self-assisting, balancing a glass of water on my head. If I wanted to as well, I could work on some alternating lunges, but again, start with some self-assistance on this because it's gonna be a challenge to just kind of get used to this new stimulus. It's gonna burn like hell. So you just ice pick the stick, alternate sides. I could also just do, you know, left side for a minute and then switch to the right. Another classic setup here is just going through and just continuous 10-minute, like part of our movement assessment, movement screen. Can you do 10 minutes of continuous box squats with your body weight? Inhale down, exhale up. Top thigh parallel to the floor is a good marker for you to kind of work in. And again, that first 5 minutes can just be smooth, eccentric style. Once you're nice and warm and the muscles are already just pumped like hell, then, and if you want to be more rhythmic, you can do kind of that reach, packing those shoulders down. Inhale down, exhale up. Inhale down, exhale up. Pumping up those quads in a serious way. So, and again, you just rest, pause. No more than 30 seconds though, 10 to 20 seconds. You can shake it out. You can flex the quads, the bodybuilder style where you dig the toes down in, especially the big toe. You rotate it out, you come back in and just kind of work those shapes. Another classic one is just a 10-minute bike. I'll have a separate video for this, but this has been the key to my knee rehab because this goes level 1 through 10. I've got in level 1, and with 6 to 80% compression in particular with the SUJI cuffs, I can make it feel like levels 10, the highest level, and it gives me the hip stability I need because I'm seated to just pump the shit out of my quads, particularly the lower quad VMO responsible for patellar tracking. And this is just a game changer, man. If you have access to a bike, I can't recommend it highly enough. With these, you might need to get a little bit higher, but it'll still be at half the resistance or even more than you would need to get the same muscle building effect, the pump, quad activation, and by the way, insane growth hormone, insane cardio burn. You can use it for intervals, steady state. So any questions, ask in the comments below. Get ready for your beginner BFR legs. Gains!